Hi Chem Team. The main job of chemists is to study matter and the way it interacts. Matter is just the stuff that our universe is made from. Specifically, it's stuff that's made from tiny particles. So like if you were to take an apple and zoom in on it, you would see that it's actually made of very small pieces that are stuck together. So examples of matter would be water, food, smoke, stars, rocks, literally anything in the universe that you can touch and feel is matter. So non-examples, things that would not be matter, would be stuff like energy, fire, electricity, sound, light, forces like gravity or magnetism, ideas like love or friendship, and then something called a vacuum, which is just nothingness. So like outer space is an example of a natural vacuum. So how do we know something is matter? Well, matter is anything that has mass and volume. When we say something has mass, we just means that it is affected by gravity. And we can test this out by placing it on a balance. So if we wanted to figure out whether this object has mass or not, we would just place it on one end of a balance and see if gravity pulled it downward. And if it did, it would have mass. Volume, the other property of matter, just means that matter takes up space. And the way we can test that is with something called a graduated cylinder. So if we take an object and place it into a graduated cylinder that's filled with liquid, if the liquid rises, we know that the object is taking up space, forcing the liquid to rise. So the main type of particle that matter is made from is something called a molecule, which is a very, very tiny particle, which is made of a clump of one or more atoms. So an example of this would be something like helium, which is called a monoatomic molecule, which has molecules that are made up of individual atoms. Or stuff like oxygen, which is called a diatomic molecule. Each molecule is made of 2 atoms. Or stuff like triatomic molecules like water, where each molecule of water is made up of 3 individual atoms, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. And in fact, that's where water gets its name from, H2O, 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So an atom then, by this definition, is just the individual elements that build all molecules. So the hydrogen was an atom, the oxygen was an atom, the hydrogen was an atom in this water, and they joined together to make a molecule. So examples of atoms would be like hydrogen or oxygen, or really any atom that's found on the periodic table of elements. Whereas non-examples of atoms would be all of the examples of non-matter from earlier, so things like energy, light, ideas, etc. And then larger molecules like water would not be considered an atom because a water molecule is actually several atoms that are bonded together. And that's it. At this point, you guys have a couple of questions to answer. Reach out if you have questions. We'll see you in class tomorrow.